so turn it down. And we are live. Good morning, everybody. Welcome inside your ladies' room. And of course, we're doing it a bit differently today. We oftentimes mix it up. Sometimes we can be all about fun and enjoyment. Other times we bring you the serious stuff. And today's one of those mornings. Well, we'll be bringing you the serious stuff. All right. First things first. Make yourselves comfortable. All right. I already realized that my lady on this side, I saw the long sigh and the blow and the inhaling and exhaling. Make yourself comfortable, all right? You'll be okay. So let me just welcome the folks on the live before we jump into today's conversation. And of course, remember, Deaf Awareness. We are definitely here to bring awareness and give you a lot of information regarding that and what will be happening as part of of course they'll have some activities to commemorate that, so hope you guys will stick around for that. Alrighty, good morning Christelle, Andrea, good morning Lydia. Come on into the live and of course hit the share button. All right, so y'all good now?
Yeah, man. Good.
Alrighty, so first things first, by way of introduction, just tell us who you are and then we'll take it from there.
All right, so good morning everyone. I am Leslie Ann Roberts, and I am a teacher at the School for the Deaf, located in Pedmota in St. David.
Okay, so let me see. Then we gotta switch up the names. Yeah, I had a name change on me. Somebody, all right. So Leslie Ann Roberts and
Elizabeth Dotton.
Okay, so I have to change my my names.
Oh,
Those I was given.
I wonder what name you got.
I have an Ashell
Oh,
Charles.
no, that was for another.
Okay.
set
So,
of interviews, yeah.
all right. So we have Leslie Ann Roberts and
Elizabeth.
Elizabeth.
Dotton.
All right. Okie doke. So tell us a bit. Tell us a bit about the School for the Deaf, and of course your involvement in what we're about to do, and we'll pick up from there.
Well,
We can go. Anybody can go first.
Yeah, so School for the Deaf, if I should go back to when it was started in 1969, yeah. Right now, we do not have, most people are shocked, but we do not have any students housed at the School for the Deaf. Our students are in the regular school, in the mainstream system.
Really?
Right? Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So we have those in primary, secondary, and even tertiary. And we've had students go through NOLO as well. So we go to work with the students wherever they are. We don't have them come to the School for Deaf and work with them there. So the drive is inclusive education.
Oh, that's. I thought. I really thought. They were actually at school.
No, not anymore.
Okay. Oh, so they were before.
Yes. It used to be like that before.
What prompted the change, though?
I think it's just the whole drive of inclusive education.
Mm-hmm.
That's the new thing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, new
Mm-hmm.
is relative, but that's the new thing. So inclusive education means that you do not separate them. You do not put them in a special school, so to speak. You put them where they can thrive with everybody else.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So we'll talk more about how that works in a little bit. But Elizabeth, tell us about your involvement.
Okay, well, as Miss Roberts,
You're gonna have to give me a little bit more volume.
Oh, sorry.
Or bring the mic closer to you. Lift it up, and put it closer to you.
Okay.
Yeah.
That should be good.
Should be better.
Right.
Mhm.
So, as Miss Roberts said, our children are not at the School for the Deaf, so we basically function as itinerant teachers.
You're soft spoken by nature.
Yeah.
All right. So you have to project your volume a little more because I've pushed
Okay.
mine all the way up and you're still low.
Okay. So,
Get better.
we function as itinerant teachers, so we would go to the schools wherever the kids are throughout the island, and we would work with them within the mainstream setting.
Okay. How challenging is that, though? I mean, for students who are hearing impaired to go into the schools, around regular children and what have you. How does that work?
Well, it may seem challenging to
Mhm.
other people,
Mm-hmm.
but I always say the deaf children, they have to live in a hearing world. So we should not put them by themselves. So have
Yeah.
all deaf children
Yeah.
together, and when they finish school, you just throw them out in the world.
Mm-hmm.
So it's always better if you start integrating them from young.
I
so
like that
they
approach.
learn how to
To cope.
function
Mhm.
within the hearing world.
Fantastic. I like that. Leslie Ann?
Hmm. You
Yes.
can say Leslie if you want to.
All right. So, how long have you been involved in this practice?
It's been quite a number of years, actually. For me, I've been with the School for the Deaf, I think it was since 2001. So it's been quite a while. Originally, when I started, we weren't doing inclusive education. So the students were at the School for the Deaf, and you would teach your classes and do like a regular school system. But um, I can't tell you exactly when the inclusion began,
Mhm.
but I've been with them for quite a while. Yeah, more than 10, 12 years going on. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, same question applies to you in terms of, do you think it's challenging for them, and I mean, how do they cope with, students who don't have those issues?
I must say it has been refreshing for some of them. Being a part of the regular school system, it has helped them a lot. There are, well, from the students' point of view, yes, it's great for them, but there are people that see this as, why you put them there? Why don't you put them
Mm.
with by themselves?
Mhm. Mhm.
School for the deaf should be school for the deaf alone, separate from the hearing world. But as Ms. Dutton said, it really helps them to learn to cope in a hearing world, because eventually they have to be part of the hearing
Of
world and learn
course.
how to
Hmm.
cope, would get jobs and know how to communicate and everything. So I think it's a great drive, and it's working well thus far. It's not as challenging as we thought it would have been.
Fantastic. Now, what about the students who are not hearing impaired? How do they relate to those students?
Oh, they are fantastic.
Mm.
They are the most supportive, I must say. Yeah, they are the ones that actually reach out. They try to help. They partner up with them. They become their good friends. They help them out of class, in class.
Mhm.
They are fantastic. They are the best supporters we have of our students that are hearing impaired or deaf, as it may be.
I always say adults are the problem, not
Yes, you
children.
are so right.
True.
Because you have adults who are saying, why aren't they by themselves, or separate them and
You are
leave.
correct.
So the adults are the problem, because you would, and I think especially in schools, when you realize there are children who are a little bit different from you, you always try to help them, and it's like it's a joy. Like it's
It
almost like
is.
they fight to help them.
Yes.
You want to be this person responsible for helping them with their
Yeah.
bag or
Yeah,
whatever it
totally
is.
right.
And
Yeah.
from my years going to school, I remember it being that way. Every time you recognize there's somebody with who may be a little bit
Special
different, a
need.
little bit special, that extra and requires extra attention or needs, children went out of their way
That
to
is
assist
true.
them, even when to get their lunch, bring it back.
Yes.
And after
So
school,
true.
stay with them until
Yeah.
the parent or guardian comes to collect them. So adults are definitely the problem. Yeah.
Mhm.
So I hope we're definitely making strides to change when it comes to those things. So we have an awareness week or month.
It's a month,
Month
actually.
of
We're way into the month, actually.
when did it start? Beginning of June.
June, yeah.
Okay,
The
tell
entire
us
month
about
of
it.
June.
Tell us about it. What was what's the reasoning behind the month, and of course the theme, I'm sure.
So we've always had a Deaf Awareness Month, as far as I could remember. Yeah.
Mhm.
Just to bring the awareness to the public, so that they could change their minds about many of the wrong that happens out there when it concerns
All
the
the
deaf. Yeah.
misconceptions,
Yeah.
etc. Hmm.
Like a lot of do's and don'ts. Anyways, so for the month, this year's month, we had for the theme inclusion of the deaf through the pandemic and beyond. I mean, we know it's COVID times, as we like to say, and there's a lot that could be done to include the deaf into maybe like the information that is put out there. A lot of times there are no sign language interpreters. They have no idea what's going on. They get the news late, if ever. Yeah. For the rest of the activities, we usually would have an outreach, a community outreach. So we bring food hampers, baskets to those that are shut in and in institutions. We have a couple of them in a different institutions on island. And so we reach out to the businesses and ask for donations, and they willingly do provide, that donation. We I don't want to call names, because then if you
Yeah, I
forget
know.
one, yeah. But so far we have had one outreach that was Friday gone, and we were able to deliver to a couple of those in the institutions. So we have that. Also, we have an ongoing sign language class, and this year for the very first time, it's via Zoom, the Zoom platform.
Oh, fantastic.
And it's amazing the amount of people that have signed on. Our limit for that platform was 100, and we got to the limit. So it's really, really excellent that so many people are interested
Interested,
in
mhm.
learning sign language. Ms. Dutton, is
And
there
I'm
anything else
happy
you want
that
to
you
add?
said that as well, because somebody
Sorry?
was saying, someone is saying, the students understand that the deaf classmates are just differently abled, but are the hearing students encouraged to learn sign language?
Yes, definitely they are. When we go into the school, in this
Mhm.
mainstream school, we always do like a staff development session, and we also speak with the students in the class that the students are in, so
Mhm.
that they get an idea of what's happening, who they are, how to deal with them and everything. And sign language is one of the things that is pushed, so that, well, if it's needed, because most of our students right now are not profoundly deaf. We do have a couple of them that rely totally on sign language to communicate, but we do have hard of hearing students as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm hard of hearing too, so I probably need to join. Probably need to join you guys at some point. Because
And
being in the radio for so long with these headphones,
Yeah, I
loud
could just
headphones on,
imagine.
yeah, it's definitely something
Banging
that,
against your eardrums all the time.
yes, it is. It is something that I have to seriously look into. Somebody is also saying sign language should be a part of a school's curriculum.
I totally agree. I love that comment.
Mhm.
we actually had a program in one of the schools,
Mhm.
and it went pretty well. A lot of the kids were able to get a certificate at the end of the school year saying that they would have done the basic sign language and so. And maybe more schools need to,
Get
get
on
on
board.
board with that program.
Mhm.
You know,
How about, do you have any ideas to how many children that are hearing impaired, like island-wide level?
It will be kind of hard to see because those that we work with are those that we are aware of, but there are those that are hidden and those that we haven't found yet.
Yes.
I mean, even not too long, we came upon a couple others. We came upon at least 4 of them
Mhm.
that are hard of hearing. And so, as we continue to do testing, we find them.
Mhm.
So it's kind of hard to say exactly how many there are. Yeah.
So is this something that you depend on a parent or a guardian to say, let me go get a hearing test because I realize I'm talking to this child and it's like it's not registering, or is it a case of going into school and doing tests among students themselves?
well, sometimes we depend on the parents because the parents are the one that's with the children
Mm-hmm.
most of the time, so they would recognize that okay, they're speaking to the child, and the child is not hearing. And also the classroom teachers,
Mm-hmm.
they tend to pick up on that there's something wrong, right? And they would do a referral, and we would, the parents, obviously we need the parents' consent in order to do the test. If the parent doesn't consent, then we can't test the children, so we rely on the parents as well as the teachers.
Yeah.
And in rare cases, the nurse at the clinic.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Alrighty. So in terms of further activities, what else do we have on the itinerary that's upcoming that persons can partake in?
Well, persons. Well, we, as I said, we are way into the month,
Mhm, mhm.
and so we've
Almost
already
at the end
had
of the month.
Yeah, we've already had our tea party, which was only by takeaway services because of the COVID
Mhm.
protocols, and so we had a church service to open the month that has already gone.
you
The
are
only
late.
thing that is left really is another community outreach we'll be doing on Friday. So if people want to join us to go deliver those baskets, that would be awesome. Yeah.
And where will that be?
This Friday we will be going more to houses, not institutions, because
Okay.
some of these people are living with relatives, that are trying their best to make ends meet. So it will be in the St. David's area. Yeah. But if people want to, they can reach out to us at the School for the Deaf.
Mhm.
The number is 440-2242. Or you can check us via email, and it's School for the Deaf, GDA@gmail.com. Yeah.
Right.
And we can organize.
Okay, right. So now let's talk about the do's and don'ts as it concerns speaking to individuals who are deaf. One time I had Mr. Rolo scream at me for touching him. I thought I was doing a service. Saw him trying to cross and no vehicle at all. Stopping. Apparently they didn't notice him on the sidewalk. So I'm like, all right, let me see if I can help. So I touched him and turned around, and well, he screamed at me first, and then he explained, you're supposed to draw the person's attention first before you touch them.
Right.
And then they'll direct you as to how you can assist. So I had my lesson on the blind, but now
Yeah.
for the deaf, I've never had any encounter with any deaf persons or hearing impaired. So how does that work? The do's and don'ts as it concerns speaking now to individuals who are deaf. What do we do?
Okay, well, for me, the first thing that comes to mind is that you don't have to shout. Yeah.
And that is the first thing people do is like,
Yeah. You're hearing me? No, you don't. You don't have to shout because it doesn't matter how loud you shout. It
"You
wouldn't make
wouldn't
a
hear."
difference.
No, I never thought about that.
No.
People
They hear
actually will
lots
be
of- they
shouting,
hear-
"Are you
yeah.
hearing me?" Okay, and they're going louder with asking the question, "Are you hearing me?" And
Mhm.
obviously, we're not
They're not.
hearing you.
Yeah. That's one of the main ones that comes to mind. Also, in Grenada society, we tend to refer to the deaf as you don't know dummy down the road, and that is so derogatory. This is not an accepted term.
Mhm.
Dummy, as they would like to say, is a person and they have a name just like everybody else. So I would one of the things I'd always like to encourage, the word is
Be
deaf,
true.
not
To
dummy.
me, every person I know, they're called dummy.
And that is such a derogatory term. It's not what you're supposed to be saying. The person is a deaf person, yeah, and they have a name just like every one of us, yeah. So I would encourage people to find out what their names are and refer to them by their names, yeah. Dottie, anything you want to add?
Well, going back to their names, they would teach you their sign name. They usually are very willing to teach people their sign name, right? So, for example, my sign name is Dotin, you know. So
Let me see what you did. What did you just
the
do?
D, the letter D,
D.
and you just trace the eyebrows,
Oh,
Because she has thick eyebrows,
right? So, so they would show you their sign name, so you could get their attention. You know, you signal their name, and they would know. Okay, well, you're trying to get their attention. Yeah, and the deaf community, they're very willing to teach you signs. Once they notice that you're willing to communicate with them, they would show you signs. So the general public just need to have an interest, and that's where it starts. Once you have that interest, the deaf persons, they would help you along the way. And also, there's a lot of information out there on the internet. You know, you can learn signs. If you want to say something to them, you just look it up, and you find the signs. We use ASL in Grenada, which is the
what's that?
American Sign Language.
Okay.
or if you
Yeah.
want to make it localized, GSL, Grenadian Sign Language.
Yes.
Some of the signs are just
Local.
relative.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, and don't forget spy signs.
Oh,
We had a production during the COVID lockdown. I don't know if you would have seen it.
Yes. Yes, I did. Mhm.
So you can access that on YouTube. We also have a page on YouTube. Maybe you type in Spy Signs or School for the Deaf Grenada, and you will get access to the sign language lessons that we did. So that even if you can't find another avenue, you can find that one and learn sign language there.
I really wish this could be part of the curriculum and not leave it up to a person, because we all know when it comes to things like this, the interest is like, you know, and it's like literally have to force people to engage unless you're related to the person, or
Correct.
they're within the home, and like you don't have a choice. But when you're given a choice, be like, nah, that's not my thing. You know, I noticed that couple months ago, I'm not too sure if it still continues, when we had Parliament, sitting of Parliament and what have you, we had someone doing that. Is it still ongoing?
From time to time, Parliament would reach out to us and ask
Time
us.
to time. So you see,
From time to
definitely
time.
we start from the top.
Yeah.
You know,
of course.
it's the precedent. We need to set it from the top. If it's something, I mean, it's like, okay, so if I'm hearing impaired, I don't know what's happening unless I put myself out. I'm looking at these people
Yes,
on the
you have
television
to.
and I have no idea what's happening.
Mhm.
So to me, especially when it comes to the business of the country, it should not be sometimes. It should be all the time.
Yeah.
You know,
Correct.
and also that and the news.
The news. I totally agree.
So
with
you're saying to
yeah.
me, if I'm a child or what have you, I don't know what's happening. I don't know
Yeah.
what's making the news. I can't look. I can look, but I'm not understanding what's
unless
going on.
there's
Unless
closed captioning, and then you can read that, but it's not always,
it's
the
not
best.
always there.
Mhm.
It's not always there unless you're very good at reading lips,
Mhm.
and you understand what they're saying. So it's something that the interest has to be from the top. You can just say or leave it at okay, because
I totally agree.
people are a lot of folks are hearing impaired.
The powers that we need to push more for
We
it,
definitely need to push more
So
for that.
true.
Anything else in terms of the do's and don'ts?
Nothing else comes to mind at the moment, but and just remember to include them in everything. And as you said, it rightly said, it has to come from the top. as long as it starts from the top, it can flow down to everybody else, and then we should have a more inclusive society
Mhm.
where we don't, leave some out and include others. Let's try our best to include the deaf and hard of hearing as much as we can. Remember them.
Consistency, because when they started, I was like pleasantly surprised. I'm like, wow, okay, we're going places now. We definitely,
Yeah,
and
and then there
I'm
was a
like,
break.
then nothing. I'm like, no,
You know.
Not because the majority aren't. I mean, those who are shouldn't be included in what's going on in the country. That is their right.
Right.
So
It is. I'm
it
happy
is.
you said that. It is their right
Yeah.
to have sign language interpretation available at every, at every broadcast. It is their right. And so I think we forget that sometimes.
Yes, so it's a level of importance, as someone is saying on the live, it's a level of importance that attached to that group of people. So we can't have them at the bottom of the pole and trying to to fit in wherever they feel like or whenever they want to, but it should be included.
Yeah.
Anything else, ladies?
I think basically.
Okay. We have one other activity coming up, which is
Mhm.
for our kids. We normally have a fun day where we take all the deaf
Children.
and hard of hearing children.
To work with.
We do an activity with them for the day. Because
Mhm.
usually, as we would have said before, they are in the different schools. They're not together. So
Mhm.
this is one occasion where they all meet.
Bring them together.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so we have that coming up on the 6th of July.
Where will that be? What will it be?
So it would be an outing, like a fun outing, maybe a bus trip, one of those
okay.
things. Yeah, so that, we can all socialize and enjoy ourselves together.
All right. So this is something that is held every year. Awareness.
The awareness month, yes.
Okay. All right. So hopefully, next year, God's will,
Mm-hmm.
before the month starts,
Yes.
we'll be able to have a full conversation, highlighting everything to get more participation. Of course, understanding COVID sort of put a damper on things, and the interaction part of it, but still the awareness is important, right? So hopefully by next year, God's will, we'll be back to some form of normalcy, and be able to mingle without any fear, what have you, and we can disseminate the information. So I'm looking forward to having this way in advance, not the last week before
Yes.
the month ends,
Right.
and we would have more information. Alrighty, in terms of person wanting to contact you guys, how can they do that? Do you have any social media pages? You mentioned the YouTube, so probably you can tell us about that
Right.
again.
So as I said, you can contact us via phone 440-2242,
Mhm.
and that's the School for the Deaf line, or you can check us out on email, which is schoolforthedeafgda@gmail.com. The YouTube thing is just a sign language spy signs that we did during the lockdown.
Okay.
So right, the Facebook page though is
Wait,
more
do
of
the
a,
Facebook again. Let me see.
well,
So your
you can do
face.
face and
Uh-huh.
book.
And book.
Or the deaf here sometimes we do Facebook, just F&B
Oh, okay.
Facebook to
Okay.
make it shorter. We do have a Facebook page, but it's School for the Deaf Grenada. Yeah,
All right. So persons
you can
inquiring.
check that out and see what you can get from there.
Alrighty. Anything else before we go? Are we good?
We just really thank you for the opportunity to be here and to share as
Welcome.
much as we can about the deaf and inclusion and everything. So thank you so much for this opportunity.
You are so welcome. Not a
Thank
problem
you.
at all. And like I said, next year, God's will.
for
Before
sure.
All right. Make contact and let's do this.
Great.
All right.
Okay.
Thanks so much, ladies. Appreciate your
you.
company this morning.
Alrighty.
Thanks.
Alrighty. And thank you so much to all the folks on the live, those of you who are actually interested in everything that's going on and not just the fun times and the games and the bacchanal and the drama, but you're actually interested in learning a thing or two of what's happening. Thank you so much for staying here with us this morning. Thank you again. And of course, remember, our ladies' room came to you through the kind compliments of Beacon Insurance and Western Union. Catch us again tomorrow morning, same time, for another one. As a matter of fact, final one for the week, right here on Power 95. Till then, stay powered up.